Hello everyone and welcome to this week's Midweek Reflection. Can I just start by thanking everyone for their amazing support during the run that I did just last week on Friday. I completed the course where I went over 26.5 miles in not quite horrendous conditions, but pretty close to it. I don't think my shoes have dried out yet. And as I speak today, the donations towards the work of Conwy Food Bank have just tipped over £2,000. I'm just in awe of your generosity. So thank you so much to everyone who's supported me, whether financially or prayerfully, or has sent messages of encouragement. It means an awful lot. Thank you. So with that in mind, I want to really sort of dwell on the whole kind of running and race image today as we enter another week of restrictions, as we prepare ourselves to go into a new season of reduced restrictions in Wales, but increased restrictions in England, and just trying to make sense of where we are and what we can and can't do. It feels very much like we're stuck in a marathon that just seems to be going on forever and ever at the moment. I want to read some verses from Hebrews chapter 12, which I hope will bring us some encouragement today. Hebrews 12 verses 1 to 3. Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured such opposition from sinners, so that you will not grow weary and lose heart. I know for some of you, you think I'm completely mad for what I did on Friday running down the valley. And you're probably right, I am probably slightly mad. But you know, I've not always been a runner, and I don't always find it easy. I'm sure some people look at people like me who do what they would label extreme exercise and think it's easy, but it isn't and never has been. Do you know, I was so slow when I was younger that there was one sports day that I will always remember where we were in our form groups and no one in my class would run the 1500 metres. I volunteered because I was always that child who would volunteer and do things just to help others out. They started the race and off I went, and I was so slow that they started the next race before I'd even finished. I got house points for perseverance, but definitely no house points for speed and fitness. I've always been big growing up, and I was always told that I was built for comfort, not speed, that running wasn't something for me. That wasn't who I was. That wasn't what I did. And yet I'd always wanted to run a marathon. That was always something that I wanted to do. It was on my bucket list, but I was never fit enough. And so when the time came when I felt as if maybe I'd lost enough weight and I was at the point where I could maybe run it, I started to train. It is a real act of perseverance. But you know, as you go through a marathon race, as you go through a race of any distance, it is such a great image for life and how we can often struggle. Do you know, on my race, on the marathon run last week, there were moments when it felt easy. You know, there were moments when it was just a sheer joy to be running despite the rain, despite the wind. Moments when just the beauty of God's creation, the glimpses of his glory shone through down the valley, and it just felt good to be alive. Most of those moments were downhill, I might add. But then there were moments when you're facing that inner battle and that doubt of, I can't do this anymore. There's no way I can do this. There were moments when I was telling myself I was crazy and mad and shouldn't be there, and this was a silly idea. Moments when I'm fighting that voice within me. There were moments on the race when time seemed to stand still, when I was definitely sure that on the way back they'd stretched the miles out longer than they were on the way down the valley. When you just seem to be treading in mud, when nothing seems to be moving. There were moments when things didn't go to plan, moments when the route was blocked and I had to go a different way. Moments when I had to just give up trying to get into Llanrwst because of the flooding. In those moments, you have a decision to make whether or not you're going to allow that lack of plan follow through to completely turn you off course. And there are moments when it hurt. There are moments in life when things hurt so much, and we can relate so much to all of those moments in life when it's easy and it feels brilliant. Moments in life when we're fighting that doubt and in a battle. Moments in life when time seems to stand still. Moments in life when things don't go to plan. Moments when it hurts so much. But you know, in every one of those moments, whether it be a running race or an analogy for life, the only thing we can do is to keep putting one step in front of the other. To keep moving regardless of the pace, to keep trusting. You see, our reading from Hebrews tells us of the great cloud of witnesses, tells us to throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles. But it tells us to run with perseverance. The very word perseverance tells us that it's going to be difficult, that we're going to need to dig in and keep going. But it tells us, more importantly, that the race is marked out for us. You know, we haven't got to navigate. We need to just keep moving. And how do we do that? How do we find the route? We fix our eyes on Jesus and we follow him. The one who for the joy set before him endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. You see, Jesus has gone and prepared a way for us. He has persevered and endured more than any of us will ever endure. And so we need not grow weary or lose heart. We need look up and look to Jesus and find the strength that we need to carry on. I know we're saying this time and time again, but we live in a difficult season. But there's always glimpses of God's goodness and God's glory. And we need to dig in and persevere. One day we will look back on all that's happening right now and we will say, well done. We got through that together. You know, the joy that is set before us is Jesus and an eternity with him. The joy that is set before us is the fact that Jesus is with us even now, that he cares enough to presence himself with us and to lead us on the path to life. So in the races of our life at the moment, in the marathon journey that we are on currently, let us keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep Jesus at the forefront of everything.